Hi guys, how is everybody doing today? It's Johanna from High-Tea Toys and I'm here with the much anticipated question and answer video. This video is cursed, I swear. So I've been trying to film this but then I fell ill and then it was too warm. It's still too warm, can you tell? Oh my god, I'm so warm. And I've literally just filmed this entire video but the sound wasn't on, so here we are doing it all again. But first, before we get into the questions, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you all for your support of this channel. Honestly, it's unprecedented. I am so blown away by all the lovely comments I get, all the lovely people that subscribed. You are the best, and a special thanks to my new members, because this channel now has a membership function. I never thought I'd get here. This is amazing. You are the best, honestly. Thank you so much. This kind of was meant to be as a celebration of 1,000 subscribers, but because of all the things I've just mentioned, I only gotten around to filming that today. However, you all left me some fantastic questions about 3 weeks ago that I'll try and answer in this video. I kind of want to make this more of a regular thing, so if you have any more questions at the end of this video, please leave them down in the comments. Probably start it with question just so I know what it is, and I can kind of like file them for next time. But without further ado, let's lift the curtain on High-Tea Toys' channel and find out what my answers to questions are. So we are starting with Mr. Blue. Where did you get your name for the channel and when did you start collecting Lego? So, fantastic question. I would also like to point your attention to my origin story super old video that's on my channel, so if you want to know sort of like when I started collecting and kind of the backstory to my life, you can go check that out. Basically, I started collecting again in August last year when I bought a little tiny Lego set and admitted to myself that I still really love Lego, and then it all kind of went out of hand a little bit, as you can see by the stuff around me. The name of the channel was suggested by a friend of mine called Matt, because I am terrible at naming anything, and when I kind of was talking about maybe starting a YouTube channel to document my collecting journey, which I kind of wanted to start initially because I thought it would be really fun for me to record my collecting journey, so in like future I could kind of go back, go like, oh my god, see, in like August 2020 this is what my collection looked like, look at it now, which I could also already do because it's exponentially grown since then. But I'm terrible at names, as I said, so luckily my friend Matt said, what about High-Tea Toys? It rolls up the tongue, it has high tea in it, which is quite British. Also, I used to have a bakery, so I feel like it's kind of baking, baked goods, treat related. And yeah, I just kind of really liked the name of it. I didn't have a better suggestion, so here we are. High-Tea Toys. Next up, the question is from AV Brickz. They say, what's your favourite Lego brick? And curious to know why you end every video saying how do? Well, you are not the first to ask. My favourite Lego element is probably the obvious one that a lot of people have, but the masonry brick. Where would we be without it? It has fantastic detail. It's perfect for all the Harry Potter stuff. I love them. I have plenty of colours. When I recently organised my drawer, I realised how many I had, because it's just the perfect element to kind of add detail to the city really easily, but also have a sturdy brick to build with. Other than that, I really love plant pieces because I find that I use plant pieces the most because they just add all the detail. So like the leaf elements are fantastic. And then to the second half of that question, why do I say how do? So the reason is I'm from the south of the Netherlands and my parents spoke a dialect where how do means goodbye. So when I started this channel I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to say because I spend my whole life saying that as a sign-off, so it's like, do you know what, I'm just going to throw in some Dutch heritage and use that. I also know that, for example, in Cornwall they say how do as like greeting. Some people also use that as goodbye, but basically I say it because it's a Dutch dialect sign-off that I said my entire life. So yes, now you know. And it's spelled H-O-U-D-O-E, in case you're wondering. So then Nikoleta asks, what is your most amazing set you've ever built? And I really love this question because it's like the build experience. And I'm going to go with Ninjago City Gardens. It was a tough decision. There is really very many that I could list, like Diagon Alley, Hogwarts, my first modular are just some that come to mind. But I feel like Ninjago City Garden has to take the crown because I was so very excited to get this building. It's so unlike anything else I collect. It's absolutely beautiful. And then the best thing about it was that pretty much every single bag of that set, and it's a huge set, holds a different building, a different feel. It has a nice collection of bricks and then detail. So like every little bag you kind of build a story, and I just loved building that set. I was blown away by just the fun of it. and I wish I could re-experience that. I'm still hopeful I get Ninjago City at some point, so I have sort of a similar set to experience. Then moving on to Angel's question, who asks, I'm gonna just interpret it a little bit because the sentence doesn't really make sense, but I think what he means is, what did you start first, your collection or your city, and how did you go about expanding it? So basically I started as a Harry Potter collector because Harry Potter is my first and true love, mostly because I set about collecting the sets that I used to own when I was a child and I sadly got rid of. So that kind of opened my eyes to everything else that was out there. So I started like getting all the Harry Potter set, and I distinctly remember saying in a video that I was only going to get Harry Potter set, maybe some Lord of the Rings if I found it. But that notion went out the window literally 2 months later when I got my first modular, and then I started really slowly gaining modulars. The reason I started getting modulars is mostly just because I realised I really love Lego buildings. It's kind of like that miniature thing, I think. So then I got Assembly Square. I did like a graveyard mock to sit next to it, which was really fun. So if you go back to like videos from even early January of 2021, you will see that I don't really have a city yet. When I redid this room and like moved into this room, I definitely did not have a city. I just had a few modules sitting in a line. I am going to be making a separate video on this because I've had the question a few times from people where they were like, how did you start your city? Or like, how should I start my city? Because I feel like my collection journey is very much like, I happened to acquire them and then this thing evolved out of it. So if you want to see that video, hit the notification button and subscribe because I will be doing that in the future, I promise. The second part to Angel's question was also, is YouTube a part-time thing right now? And if so, how do you financially support your hobby? Which is a bit of a question, but I think it's important to answer. So yes, it's like part-time. I guess it's just in my spare time. I have a full-time job doing something completely different. So this is just kind of like my hobby. I really like collecting Lego and I thought it'd be fun to make some videos about it. So financially I support it by just working full-time and like dedicated some budget to it. I know budget is like the big joke of the Lego community where everybody's like, oh god, what even are budgets? In general, I think I set my budget and if I go over slightly, it's fine, but I can't go over too much because, you know, there is life goals outside of Lego that I have to save for. Like, Ben and I are really hoping that we can buy a house at some point, and we are also trying to get married in October, so all of these things just require funds as well. So basically I just try and like balance all of this, which kind of feels impossible sometimes, especially as Lego can be incredibly expensive and if you want you could just spend infinite amounts of money on it. So that's kind of how I manage it all. So the next one is from Christian M, who asks, if hypothetically you were to submit a build to Lego Ideas, what would you like it to be? I love this question. I think it's really, really fun, but I haven't really got a very good answer because I haven't really got an idea at the moment that I would love to execute. Also, I think anything that I would have an idea of to execute would be very limited by my ability to mock things because, you know, there is so many better mockers out there than me. I don't think I would call myself a mocker. I just like doing my own little bits every now and then. I think a theme I would really love to make some mocks for are Avatar: The Last Airbender because it's one of my favourite cartoon kids shows, and I would really love to have some more better looking sets than the official ones that came out way too long ago and are now really expensive. Also, I would really love a Lothlorien mock. So I know there's some, I've seen some pictures of one I think, but I would really love some nice elvish Lord of the Rings mocks. Even maybe like the swan boats when they leave Lothlorien. Basically, there is lots of Lord of the Rings beautiful sets that I would really love to see in Lego form. Also, it'd be really fun to have some more Adventure Time actual sets, so some more colourful, maybe like Finn and Jake's treehouse would be really fun. Basically, there is plenty of things that I would like to see, I just don't know if I'd have the skill to make them. So next up, Grogu Studios with a dual question. So let's just go for one first. So the first one is, what's your favourite ever Lego minifigure? And I think the one that comes straight to mind is like the McGonagall from the Hogsmeade set that I built recently. Really, really love her. She is beautiful. Her robes are fantastic. I think she embodies the spirit of what I want Lego to do with their minifigures in sets. I think she's fantastic. Also, I really, really love the Dumbledore that came in Harry Potter CMF Series 2. I think he is just exactly the Dumbledore I wanted. His head-hair combo is fantastic. Fawkes was so cool. I think in general that series is really good, and I really like some of my Disney ones as well. So like Ursula and Maleficent are fantastic, as well as like the Cheshire Cats and stuff. So there is plenty of minifigures I love, and I think I have to stop myself here because otherwise I'll just like list literally every single one I own. Because like there is Arwen and Elrond and all these amazing Lord of the Rings minifigures that I haven't even touched upon. So there are so many that I could list here. So Grogu's second question is, what theme would you like LEGO to create or bring back? Which is really difficult. I think the obvious answer that everybody's going to be expecting from me is LEGO Lord of the Rings, which yes, 100% bring it back in a 2021 form with bigger buildings, more minifigures, like custom molds, bring it all. Money is waiting for it. But if I were to go for creating a new one, then I'm a little bit more at a loss because I think they've done Avatar already. I would love more sets for that. Also some more like Disney buildings. There is some really fantastic Disney sets out there, but in general they're aimed at quite young kids. I would really love to see some more like Disney castle style, like Disney train and station type builds. I know they're doing Arendelle, or like the Ice Castle soon, but it still uses mini dolls. It's also like not very easy to integrate it in a city because it's a really specific build. I would really love some buildings like, I know there's like fantastic LEGO ideas for the Seven Dwarfs cottage, which is fantastic. I really want that. Anything that we could potentially use in a city or a collecting setup that's just a bit more cohesive, has more minifigures, and possibly also is a bit more expensive, but I would totally love that. Then the next question is from rickyfoofighter, who says, if you were a billionaire and you could afford anything, what LEGO sets, new or old, would you buy? Thank you. If I was a billionaire, I'd buy everything. No, if I were a billionaire, I would have a bigger LEGO city, so I'd probably have most of the modulars as well as just a more extensive display. But the first thing I probably would set out to buy is the Tower of Orthanc, closely followed by Ninjago City, because that's very high on the wish list as well. Alright, and then last but not least, we have Donald Bonner, who asks, do you plan to upgrade your video equipment as funds allow? Now, that's a fantastic question that, yes, is obviously the answer to it. Having to balance LEGO and equipment is quite difficult because, you know, like, yes, I could buy that camera, but I could also buy a LEGO set. It's a difficult thing to weigh up. There's like plenty of stuff that I kind of need to upgrade because everything is quite old. So yes, I would like to upgrade things as time allows, but funds. Too many things that I need to buy with limited money, but don't worry, over time I'm sure we'll get that. So that was all for the questions this time. If you have any other burning questions you want to ask, leave them in the comments down below. If you are new to the channel, I do streams on Wednesdays or Thursdays depending on my schedule. Sometimes with Ben, who is Mr. Highty Toys. It's super fun, so subscribe if you want to see that. Try and upload as and when I have things to share with you all, so subscribe for that. I also wanted to give a massive shout out again to my new members who have joined the channel to support it. I honestly cannot thank you guys enough. This is such a cool and crazy journey to be on, so thank you so much for becoming a member this early on. Honestly, it means the world. And there is more fun stuff coming to this channel in the future for sure. So thank you all so very much for being here, and I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye. Howdo! It's so warm!